Welcome to Wack and Trash Recap, the movie recap podcast. I'm your host, Zach Olson.
And I'm the other host, Stephen Mitchell.
And we're here to recap the movies for you. The
Yes,
cinema,
sir.
as they used to call it back in the days.
Oh, what?
The cinema.
The cinema.
We're going to go see the cinema, son.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to go far.
It's only 10 cents to go see the theater.
And funny enough that we're talking like that because our movie today, I think it's around that time era, right?
No.
The 80s, yeah.
80s.
I know-
Classic.
I wasn't born in the 80s, though, so I have no idea. They could have talked like that back
They
then.
could have.
Anyway,
Well, say, that's pretty gravy.
that's pretty gravy, son. Pretty gravy. Today is Footloose. We're losing the feet.
These feet are going to get quite loose.
Well, okay, first question. What does it mean to have your foot loose?
It means that you're loosey-goosey on the dance floor, I think.
Oh, it's just
You know-
like your feet are going and your body's there for the ride.
It is a primal art form.
Let's talk about the movie now.
All right. It opens on...
It's some feet, and they're doing some dances, and that's all we see is a bunch of feet. And
Yep,
it's
yep.
not weird. It's not like in a weird way.
It's not a Tarantino way.
They're
It's
doing
a-
you have like the Michael Jackson slide. You have somebody doing some tap dance, a little ballet.
Can you do for the... This is going to suck for the Spotify listeners, but for the YouTube listeners, can you with your hand do what dance you would do if you were in the opening of Footloose?
Oh yeah, I might do something like a little of the and
That's good.
well, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fantastic. And so it's great. And you're just bopping around.
Yeah.
Name Kevin Bacon pops up.
I will say this is my first movie where I've seen Kevin Bacon young, and it kind of threw me a little bit how handsome he was.
You're very handsome.
Which
Very
so
handsome.
we get why all the ladies were taken. Thank
Yep.
you, Kevin Bacon, for leaving none behind.
Yep. And then sermon. And it's Reverend Shaw Moore.
Death comes unexpectedly. Which is not his line, but it's from
No.
Pollyanna. Hellfire and brimstone preaching.
Yeah,
It's
he's
the
like,
style.
if our Lord wasn't testing us, how would you account for the rock and roll music and the dancing?
So clearly he's against rock and roll music and dancing.
Yeah, that's what you
Okay,
learn. This
so-
is a small little town in Colorado. It's a little Midwest town
They
called
are
Beaumont.
in misery.
Not to be confused with
Yeah.
Belmont University.
Yeah, which is in our town. By the way, if you didn't know, we're in Nashville.
Thank goodness that people know that.
Now they're going to come looking for us.
Oh,
Our 10 subscribers.
Yeah.
And then we are introduced to this boy, Ren, and
Ren
his
McCormick.
mother. They are coming to Beaumont, not Belmont, to live with his uncle.
Yep.
So his mom's brother.
Yep.
That's how relationships
that
work.
is how
And
the family
mind blown. It starts off very small town vibes. They drive up, and I
Well,
don't.
so they were at the church service.
Oh, they're
and
at the church service.
afterwards.
That's right.
Reverend Moore is like, well, so you just moved to our town from Chicago, the big city, huh? And they were like, yep.
And Ren's like, yeah, what's whatever, you know.
And then
City
he's
vibes.
like, Ariel, that's Ren Shaw's daughter.
Yeah.
Come meet the McCormicks. He's like, Daddy, can we go to the diner, please? And she's like, Dad is like, all right, don't be out too late. It's
Just be home before the street lights come on, which is how they used to do it back in the day, right?
Yeah,
And
get-
so they pull up to this diner, right? And
Well,
oh,
This
wait,
is
my
very
bad.
important.
Yeah,
Please.
we almost
so
lost
so
this.
Ariel is in a car with her friend. One of them is named Rusty, who we'll spend more time with later.
Classic small town name. Right?
Yep. And
Yeah.
then the another girl who I don't know if we ever learned her name. Unimportant. She's one
we
driving.
do, but I don't remember what it is.
And so they're driving and they're just like listening. They're just having a grand old time listening to music. And
I know. Oh yeah, it's.
and then and who is it other than Chuck Cranston?
I'm surprised you remembered his last name.
Well, a fun fact about me is that I did a theater musical version of Footloose back in high school or middle school.
If
so
you can
I
tell,
know,
we
the-
used to be theater kids.
and so sometimes I think of a line that's not in the movie at all. For example, in the beginning when Reverend Moore first meets Ren, she's like, "I'm Ren. Ron, is it? Ren McCormick." Weird name. Is it short for something? Nope. Anyways.
Who did you play in the show?
The extra background guy. I think technically his name was Lyle, and I was one of Chuck Clanton's bullies.
You were on the bad side, Steven.
What can I say? I'm a bad boy.
Anyway, so little fun fact. That's Steven's history.
Some lore.
Some lore. Yeah, sure.
So Chuck is in this truck, and he's driving by, and he's like, "Hey, girl."
They're like, we could go faster than you. And he's in this
I don't think so.
rust bucket.
Yeah, and then
Going
that's when
fast.
Holding Out for a Hero starts playing.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for a hero tonight.
And then that's when the daughter, what is her name?
Ariel.
That's when Ariel's like, I'm gonna jump over to you, Chuck. And they're all, Chuck at the beginning, he's like, yeah, do it, or whatever. And so she starts climbing out of the car and like reaches over to his car and pulls herself, and all her girlfriends are like, stop, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're gonna die. They're like going maybe 50, 60
I mean, they're
miles.
going fast. You know these small town roads, they don't got speed
Well,
limits.
even if it was like 30 miles, it'd still be too fast.
Very fast.
Children,
And then Ariel-
don't do this at home or on the road.
But Ariel ends up standing. One foot is in the window of her car.
Yeah.
And one foot is in the window of Truck's car. And she's standing there, and she's like, I'm on top of the world.
And they're all like, get inside, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, there's a truck coming down,
Yeah,
and
over
he's
the
like,
hill.
"Bah, bah,
Which-
get out the
okay.
way."
Not that they were in the right, but the truck didn't slow down.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't stop.
I wouldn't have veered off the road, but like, my goodness, like you can put on the brakes too, buddy.
Yeah.
So Chuck grabs her at the last second, pulls her into his truck, and she's safe.
Yeah.
And they're all like,
But they like roll into
You're
like the grass and
insane.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And her friend Rusty is like, she's an idiot.
And Chuck's like, you're wild. I love you. So this is kind of setting up Ariel's character, that she's, not wanting to live in the small town, or she has a bigger imagination than what the small town has afforded her.
Right.
And so then they pull up to the diner, and they're all like, you're an idiot, Ariel. You're stupid. We're
like,
not
"Get
going to
me
buy
some-
you.
Get me some fries, friend.
And they're like,
They're
we're not gonna get
no, you jerk.
Yeah.
And so they go get food, and then she pulls out a stereo.
a boombox.
And then she puts in a cassette tape, and it starts playing some scandalous music, which is just like, classic
Regular
80s
rock and
rock.
But then this must be the loudest boombox of all time, because the entire diner, like even the chefs in the back, start
Yeah.
like dancing to it. They're like,
Yeah.
dee, dee, dee.
It's either that, or it was hooked up to the sound system of the cafe or diner.
Yeah, maybe it's the same radio station. Or
It
something.
could be. I don't know.
I don't know.
Either
But-
way, everybody's jamming out. And then all of a sudden, it goes quiet, and everybody looks over, and it's the pastor. It is
Reverend Moore.
Reverend Moore. I'm going to do so bad with names in this, just so you know. Not that it's not usual, but Reverend Moore is there, and he looks at Ariel, gives her a stern look, and then really doesn't say much. He walks up to her, and he's like,
Your mother thought you would be cold, and he gives her a jacket.
and then he
leaves.
walks away.
Yep. Doesn't make a
And
big deal out of
I thought he was going to go kind of off on her, but he ended up not.
Yeah.
And so then she feels terrible. She goes back home, and then I think we cut over to Ren, right?
There's a point you cut back before they arrive at the diner, before it's dark, and Ran and his mother, who I think her name is Ethel, but I could be wrong.
It's the 80s. That sounds right.
They're at their uncle's house, and the pastor comes over and is talking, and a bunch of guys from the school come over. They're like, Pastor, they've got dang books in the library that are too inappropriate. For example, Slaughterhouse 5. And Randall's like, oh, that's a great book. Love it.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Where
You
you say you're
sinner.
from? He's like, Chicago. Oh, the city of sin. How dare you? And so it sets up Ren to be, this very city boy.
yeah,
somebody
but
who does
he's
not
like
fit
a
in.
normal person. He's
Yeah,
not at
he's
all a
not.
bad
He's not
guy.
like uber rebellious or anything. It's just he does not fit into the society of this town.
No.
And so, and then we get a little shot of I think it's his cousins, his two little cousins that are sitting in the, and they're one of them is like, "Isn't Ren dreamy?" And you're just, what is happening?
I
So
didn't think people were in Alabama.
maybe it is. Who knows?
The next day, Monday, first day of school for Van, and he rolls in blasting music
In
like
the,
a normal
I think
person.
it's like a yellow bug. It's a pretty cool
It's a
bug.
great little bug. I mean, and everybody's just like staring at him because he's playing music loudly
Mm-hmm.
in the car, and he gets out, and he's walking around, and then he bumps into somebody, and he's like, "Hey, pal, watch where you're going."
And he's like, "Make me," and then the guy's like, "You're pretty cool."
Yeah.
it's like the most
So-
classic two guys becoming a friend.
Well, so
instantly.
it's the guy Van bumps into, named is Willard, and he's a country boy, and he's got the big straw cowboy hat on.
Yep.
And Van goes, "That's a nice hat. They sell men's clothes where you got that?" And Willard's like, "Yeah, you're pretty good." And then they're best friends for the rest of the movie.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
They have such a good friendship. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Get roasted, and then you're BFFs.
And that's how we met, actually.
Yeah.
I had my bike in our dorm room back in college, and he was like, "You're an idiot," and I was like, "Nice."
And here we are now.
Adding to the lore, like you
Wow.
said.
Willard and Van are hanging out. They're becoming friends, and he finds out about dancing is illegal. Mm-hmm. And
They're like washing his car or something like that.
yeah,
And he's like, "What? That can't be true, right?"
it's like, it can't be. My sister got in trouble for.
Oh, and so Ren is a little upset at this point because he got pulled over for listening to music.
Oh, well, yeah, it's this great line where they're driving through, and he's like, "So you guys really don't listen to music?" And Chuck's like, "No, no radio, no nothing."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What about?"
He references a band and he's like, "I've never been out of town," or whatever.
Yeah.
And-
I think it's like, men at work, and he's like, "What? They're always at work." And then he's like, "The police." Well, I ain't heard them, but I seen them.
He's
Where?
like, "Where?"
Behind you. And he
So
gets
they get
pulled
pulled
over,
over.
and the guy's like, "Blasting me to pretty loud there, huh, son?
And he's like, "Is there something wrong?" He's like, "Get out of the car!
Don't touch
talk
me,
back to
boy."
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he gets in trouble just for playing music too loudly, and it's not
Which is
even
dumb.
like, it's not like 10 p.m. or something.
Yeah. No, it's like after school.
He's just like, "Man, I can't believe you guys can't dance." It's a bummer
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah. After this, then we come back to Ariel and her family, and she goes up to her dad and she's like, "Dad, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me playing the music at that diner. I'm so sorry for doing it." He's like, you're gonna be tempted to do a lot of things in this life. And, you just gotta. I'm not gonna be there to protect you all the time. You gotta learn to say no to such sinful things. And she's like, Dad, whatever. And then she's about to I can't remember. She's about to say something more to him, and be a little more open and vulnerable. But then she decides not to.
Yeah.
And we also see the pastor's relationship with his wife is also not the greatest.
strained,
Yeah, because
yeah.
he's like, "Go tell your mom that she can go to bed because I'm gonna keep working."
Yeah.
A bit of a workaholic, this guy.
Yeah. Rand gets a job at a grain mill, and the guy operating like, "You ever operate machinery?" "Nope." "You ever do anything?" basically. And Rand's like, "Nope." But they were like, "We like this kid."
Yeah.
And so they hire Rand, and he's working at a grain factory.
And then he gets a visit from Ariel.
Yeah.
Because
Earlier in the movie, on the first day of school, Rand starts trying to assassin Chuck. Chuck is not in high school like the rest of them.
he's graduated. By
He's
this
graduated,
point.
but he picked up Ariel after school. They got into a little argument. But Rand had like a good quip. I don't remember what it was, but it was good.
And so he's like, "All right, to settle this, we're gonna go tractor chicken
We're
chicken
gonna
tractor."
Yep. Rand's like, "What?" And so they gather at Chuck Cranston's uncle's field or something like that.
Somewhere.
And Chuck is in his tractor, and he's like, "I'm gonna get you." And they teach Rand how to drive a tractor because he's never done it. He's a city slicker.
And Willard's like, they have a friend. He's like, "Now if you pull the clutch and you push this in, and then you push that button,
And then he pulled a clutch, and then he put. He's just echoing the other guy.
You're like, Willard doesn't know anything.
Not helpful.
Surprisingly, Ren actually figures it out and starts to get
it's not like
the
a
truck
stick,
moving.
basically.
I mean, well, I don't know. I've actually never driven a full-blown tractor.
No,
Like
not
I've done a
either.
lawnmower, but that's not a tractor.
That's not the same.
No.
So they're heading towards each other.
And he starts lifting up the front end of it or the lift or whatever
And
it's
he's like,
called.
oh, Chuck's like, "You want to go up? Let's go up."
Let's do it. And then it starts going back down. He's like, "Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing?" And then finally, Ren is like, he's gonna pull out. He's gonna
gonna
bail
jump
out.
off
He's
the
gonna be
tractor.
chicken. But then his shoelace gets stuck on the brake, and so he's trying to pull it off.
So
and
he
then
keeps getting up
Chuck
and
is
sitting
like,
back down.
"You idiot! You jump off! Jump off!" And then so eventually Chuck steers it off, and then he rolls over into this little side creek or something like that, and then he gets washed away.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like, "You did it! You
yeah,
did it, Ren! You beat him! You beat Chuck!"
Yeah.
And it's great.
Great little moment.
Yeah. Now he's starting to get this reputation. Chuck is very, very much angry at him, hates his guts, kind of thing.
Ariel and Rand start to also kind of become friends. They get a little flirty, but Chuck isn't crazy about, And so eventually, Rand is like, "You know what, guys? I'm going to show you what you're missing out on." And so he takes Willard and Rusty, one of Ariel's friends, and Ariel, and they drive over the county line.
Oh, Rusty's the girl. I was like, who's Rusty? Yeah, that's right. She's the girl. Yeah.
No. So they drive over the county line and they go to a bar where there's like swing dancing and just regular dancing.
And stinking Willard, man, he will not dance.
Well,
He's got,
then it's like, come on, Willard, dance. He's like, I can't.
And he's like, well, I brought you here to learn how to dance. He's like, I can't do it.
I literally can't dance.
He's like, let me go have a beer and then I'll maybe think about it or whatever. And so then he goes sits down, and since Rusty's like his date for this thing, she goes sits with him. And she's so eager. She's so cute. She's like,
to dance.
I want to dance so bad. And she's just like bouncing in her chair. And Rusty's like, get me another beer. And you're just like, dude, Willard, come on, man.
Man, Ren and Ariel are dancing. They're having a time of their life.
They're
like,
cutting up a rug. Yeah,
cutting it up. And eventually Rusty can't take it anymore. And she's like, I'm going to go dance. And she jumped out. I don't know why she didn't do this way earlier.
Yeah, well, and then, I mean, because Ren kind of dances with both of them. Like, he'll go dance with Rusty, then go dance with Ariel.
Yeah.
So the three of them are having a good time, and then of course a dude's there to dance, and so he sees a lady by herself, so he goes up and he's like, "Hey, let's dance" or whatever, and so they start dancing. Yeah.
And Willow's sitting there, and he's like, "I don't like this one bit."
No, he's
gets a little jelly.
Yeah, he gets a little jelly a little too easily, and so he jumps down on the dance floor. He's like, "Hey, hands off my girl" or whatever.
He's like, I ain't see you dancing with her.
And he's like, I don't care. I'm gonna.
I don't think you heard what I said.
Rusty's like, Willard, we're not fighting.
Don't fight.
We're not gonna do it.
And then the one guy, I think he takes the first swing.
No.
Well, Willard pushes him.
Yeah.
And then this guy goes and decks Willard in the face.
Yeah, and then Willard takes him down.
Yeah. And so then you cut out to the rest of them. His like nose is all bleeding, and they're like, Willard, why did you fight him? And he's like, well, I did great,
Yeah.
And so then they drive back, and
they had
a hoot and a half.
Yeah.
And he gets back very late, and which Ariel gets back very late.
Yeah.
And runs into her dad, and that's when he's like, "Who were you with, Van?
I don't want you to be around him no more.
Why, Daddy?
He's not a good influence on you." And then she, is mad at that, and so she yells at her dad and runs off. And
I don't know if you might die. I think you just go to a
well, okay. So I just want to say we did miss a scene. Now that it's coming up in my mind. Whoa, we're missing so much.
That's you just saying whatever scene happened to be in
basically,
his mind, regardless of if it actually would happen next.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be in order, but it is going to happen. So Ariel at some point takes Ren. And I think it was.
This is way later. We're not gonna get there yet.
This was before they go dancing, though, wasn't it? No. Okay, they don't. The train yard. That's what.
That's not. I don't think that's yet.
Oh, okay. Right.
Well, because
you got to do the angry dance
is about
first.
to happen.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Van is at school, and this one guy is like, "Hey, you want to buy some weed?" And Van is like, "No, thanks." And he's like, "Here's a sample on me." And so Ren is holding the joint that would just put in his pocket.
Yeah, and he's trying to give it back.
Yeah, and then some guy walks in, a professor, the teacher, the coach maybe?
Yeah, some teacher, I think, yeah.
Which, by the way, Ren is a gymnast. Not super relevant, but
pretty good one, though.
Well,
too.
yeah, and he's good. But basically, they see him with the drug. Ren goes and flushes it down the toilet, and the coach is like, I got my eye on you. And so he gets back, and the uncle gets a call about, he's like, I heard you've been getting in trouble at school and you're starting fights and they've ruined the tractors over there and you got kicked off the gymnastics team. Like, what's wrong, boy? And Ben's like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, now listen, I know I ain't your father. Then stop trying to be.
And he runs out.
And he runs out and then he goes to the grain mill where he works at, actually.
Here comes the best part of the whole film.
And then
and he's like,
you can never
and it's the first angry dance I've actually ever seen in a movie.
And Ren just like, and he's dancing angrily. He does some very impressive gymnastics.
He does, yeah.
There's this great shot in the movie where he's swinging around a pole, and then he jumped off the pole, and there's like 5 cuts from different angles of him jumping off this thing.
He does like this little backflip, and it's like, phoo, 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 phoo. It's pretty awesome.
It's great.
And so he's getting all his emotions out and his dancing because that's how he does it. And then at the end of it, Ariel walks in. She's like, "Wow, you're pretty good at that stuff." And she was like, "What?
He's
I
like-
thought I was alone."
Yeah, and
Woman.
he's like, I'm leaving. And then she's like, let me show you something. And he's kind of like, okay.
And then they end up getting into the car, and she's like, I kind of want to get out of this town. And he's like, okay. And she's like, hey, you ever want to kiss me? Not really.
And he's like, I think it says something like, I get the feeling you've been kissed a lot. But Willow told him earlier, so
Yeah.
makes sense. And then I think this is when she then
Yes,
takes
this
him
is
to
correct.
this train track, and there's an abandoned cart that has a bunch of like poems and like song lyrics, and basically it's they call it like a yearbook, where the kids go around and they like write something, and it's kind of like their legacy in this town.
And there's a lot of poems, and it's maybe not most of them, but a lot of them are written by her. By Ariel, because she loves poetry and writing and all this stuff. And she's like, I'm gonna make it out of town one day on my stories or whatever.
She jumps onto the train track.
Yeah.
And
as the train is coming,
and then
I
it's
don't
like,
know-
Ariel, get out of there. And she's like, we're here.
she's like, come get me. And so he does.
At the last second, they could
second.
have both been flattened.
This girl wants a death wish, and like for Ren, I'm like red flag, red flag, red flag. Like
all over the place.
she wants to die. You shouldn't be with this woman.
Nope. Yep.
Be
If your
around
lady
the-
keeps jumping on train tracks and hanging out cars, it's probably not great.
Get her some help, maybe.
Therapy.
Therapy.
Always an option.
Plug in. Yeah. So anyway, this all happens, and he's like, let's get you back home. So he drives her back home.
Yeah, and I think at this point, like, Chuck finds out about this and is mad at Ariel, and they break up. But it's very violent. Like, he...
Yeah.
Oh.
he-
Also, I think this happened around this time where Reverend Morris slaps Ariel.
Yeah.
And he immediately regrets it, but it's not good.
Yeah, he's
Don't
like,
slap
I've
your kids.
never slapped anyone. And you're like, well, don't start on your daughter or ever. How about that?
Yeah.
Come
Why
on.
not?
Because at this point, she's kind of fed up with the whole town. She's like, I'm gonna leave, Dad. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get out of here.
But Reverend Moore, during a lot of this, is having a little bit more of a breakthrough. His wife kind of confronts him and is like,
What
are you
happened
doing?
to us? Yeah.
The school teachers are like, we got to burn some books at the library. And Reverend Moore's like, don't do that. And then
Go back
I
home.
think the next day they are actually burning it. And they Reverend Moore finds out. And he's like, go home, all of you. And he's like, starts picking up books. So you're like, okay, some change is happening.
Another key point that we really need to mention is on the drive back from the swing dancing at the bar. Thank you. We come to learn why dancing is banned and like rock and roll music is banned from this town is because it's the pastor's son and a couple of his friends were rocking out, jamming out, just having a good time, and they were driving a little too fast back
And drinking.
and drinking. Yeah, so there's a lot going on, but they were just going a little too fast. They were not seeing the things right, and so they drive over this bridge and they hit it wrong, and they go over the side, and then they all die. And so the pastor's like, that's why rock and roll music is bad. That's why dancing is bad. Drinking's bad, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so like it shows you like why the pastor is so strict about these things. And you're like, all right, a little bit of heart for this guy, but at the same time, like that wasn't the reason why this all happened.
Yeah, and so there's a sermon that he ended up giving. I think it's after the book burning, but it could be before. It's at some point where he's like, now this law is not about dancing. It's to protect our young people. And then it doesn't speak up. But it gets to this point where then it's like, you know what, guys? We're gonna throw a dance
We're gonna do it.
for like a senior prom.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's-
And so he starts he's getting word around the street. And he's like, it's going to be a dance. But then they're like, in order to get this, like, you got to get approved by the town council.
Yeah, which is kind of going against the pastor
On the town council.
on the town council, and
And
he kind of runs the whole town,
But not too
basically.
much, apparently, because they didn't listen to him on the library thing. So,
Yeah, well, I feel like they took his theology, and by the way, his theology is very, very wrong. He's like, I am accountable for all of you, and you're like, all right,
yeah.
you are accountable to things, but you're not like responsible for everybody's soul. So it's like,
Yeah, but that's
he's
his whole
feeling
thing,
a lot
is
of
he's
weight.
like,
yeah,
Everybody's soul is resting on me,
Yeah.
which is not leaving a lot of room.
So
for
I feel
spirit.
like a lot of the strictness comes out of that mentality. But anyway, so they're like, you got to convince the pastor basically, and then convince the town council.
And then you have probably one of the most fun scenes ever where Randall's like, Willard, I got to teach you how to dance.
And Willard's like, oh, okay, I guess so.
And so they put on the music and they're like, let's hear it for the boy.
And he
Willard
has
is
no sense of rhythm.
you can't. He's like listening to music and he cannot snap on a beat. And they have this. One of my favorite scenes is Van and Willard listening to music in the school hallways on the same like Walkman, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're like walking and like in time, and Willard is just like bouncing up and down,
Just randomly.
He's a little bit more upbeat at this point, but
Yeah.
and so he's slowly learning it and he's getting it. By the end of the montage, he does like almost like some breaking, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. He takes Ren's like little cousins. They're like dancing together. It's really cute.
It's great. It's a fantastic scene.
That's another one of those fun montages.
Yeah, and so then they're building hype for this town council meeting, and Ariel comes up to Van and it's like, "How you feeling about the big dog?" And Van is like, "I'm pretty nervous. I don't know." And she's like, "Look at this. This is gonna help." And she gives him a Bible with some passages marked, and he's like, "How do you know all this?" And she's like, "Please, I'm a PK." You know,
I've been out here. I've been there. And then we had mentioned that Chuck had broken up with Ariel, but like it was a really bad breakup and everything. Like he hit her and all that
he beat
stuff.
her.
Not very good. But so anyway, I think she's kind of recovered from that at this point,
A little bit,
if I'm not mistaken.
Now we're at the town council meeting.
Come up to the town council
And they're just like, first order of issue, the mailbox. I say keep them. I don't remember
and
what it was.
everybody's like, yeah. And then they're like, all right, any other orders? And they know what's coming.
Yeah. And then one guy's like, I would like to remind our young people this is an official town meeting, so please be respectful.
There will be no hooliganism.
Van stands up and he's like, I would like to say something. And they're like, it's about the school dance. And there's one dude basically stands up and shuts him down immediately.
Yeah.
He's like, no way.
No
blah,
dancing.
blah, blah, blah. And then the pastor's wife stands up and she says, I think Van has a right to be heard. And everybody's kind of like, oh, snap.
Yeah, she shuts him
Oh,
down.
snap.
So Ren gets up there and he comes up with the Bible, right? He doesn't start off with it, but he's presenting why they should do this dance, the senior prom,
He's
and all
like,
that
throughout
stuff.
all of history and time, dancing has been used for celebrations.
Rejoicing, and that's what we want to do with this. We want to celebrate life. We want to, use this as a celebration of like what we've accomplished and all that stuff. And then the pastor's like,
I don't think the pastor actually says hardly anything.
he does respond, because that's when, after the pastor responds initially, that's when Ren is like, I have here something with me that I think is really touch you. And he opens up the Bible to the verse that Ariel brought to him, and he's like, David danced before the Lord.
It's hilarious. So first he quote, I think Psalm 149 of danced before the Lord. And he's like, and in Samuel, what did David do when, like, what did David do? What did David do? And he's like trying to find a passage. And he's like, David
You can
danced
tell-
before the Lord.
You can tell he doesn't read the Bible
Yeah.
very much. But basically, he comes out at the pastor and he's like, it's in the Bible. Dancing is a good thing
He
in
closes
the Bible.
it out with the part from Ecclesiastes of like, there's a time for joy and mourning and a time for dancing. And they're like,
Drop. They're all like, you can't really argue with the Bible now, can you?
yeah. Well, but they do say, sorry, kid.
Yeah.
The other town councils, this is when Reverend Moore actually doesn't say anything, but everybody else says, nope, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And so everybody's all bummed. The next day, they're like, I guess it can't happen. And Ren is at work with his field, and the owner of this mill is like, now, what if you cross the county line? And they were like, what? And he's like this factory here.
It's outside the county.
It's outside the county. Just hold it here. And Ren is like, really? And so that's what they start doing, and they start planning, and they're putting up decorations, and it's like super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's fun little montage again of setting up the mill.
oh yeah,
getting ready.
And Vi, which is Pastor Moore's wife, is kind of like, didn't we used to have fun?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
When did
We used to be-
happiness
We used to
leave?
be like kids. Moore is kind of like, when did you turn against me? But you can tell he's still thinking.
Eventually, he's like, you know what? If they're gonna have it anyway, might as well support our kids and make sure that they do things the right way.
Yeah, so when they're getting ready for prom, Ariel's getting ready, Mom brings a corsage, and it's like, oh, Mommy, you didn't have to get this. And she's like, I didn't. And they're like, Pastor, no.
So his
sweet.
heart's changed. Like, it's not fully changed. Like, he's like, I just don't want this to lead to, wrongful sexual and activity or, anything like that.
Right.
And you're like, I understand that. Yeah, I get that as far as the pastor's
And then like Ren picks her up in a way nicer way than Chuck ever would have. And
Absolutely.
like, you look beautiful. And he goes and he tries to open the door, but it doesn't lock from his side. He has to he's like, wait, and he runs around and
unlocks it, runs
unlocks
back
it, comes
over.
back around. Yeah, it's adorable.
So he knows how to treat a lady. So he drives her off. They get to the dance. They're all like, yeah, let's go inside. So they run inside. They're having a good time. Well, actually, not yet. They're not having a good time. But
Everybody,
that's
before
when
Ben gets there, everybody just literally sitting there like dead silent. Nobody's moving.
Yeah.
They're like, this is kind of lame. Why
Yeah.
did we fight for this? What's going
Well,
on?
and so that's when Rusty and Willard pull up, and they're about to head inside, and then Chuck and his gang pulls up, and they're all like, "Hey, Willard, I see you got your little tuxedo on. You're gonna go have a fun dance or whatever.
Come on, guys. I
where's
promised
Ren?"
Rusty I wouldn't fight.
And Rusty's like, you promised me, and so he's like, I can't do it. So
I
just
can't
please
fight, guys.
leave.
Let me just go in.
And so they're like,
let me
"Oh,
kick
watch
him."
this!" And then they start punching him, and and then they start like holding Rusty, and Willard's like, "Rusty, what do you want me to do?" And she's
He's
like,
kick the back. And so he goes bang, and he starts fighting. There's like 5 of these bullies.
"Yeah,
right?
yeah." And then Ren runs out, and he's like, "Wow, you guys are so big. Look at you, 5-on-1." And so
Yeah.
then he jumps into the action. He starts taking down Chuck.
Yeah, just Ren and Willard take out these
2 on
5
5.
like big dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Their gymnast skills really come in handy.
I guess so.
And so they finally get them all beat up, and they get sent packing on their way. And then
That's when they go back inside, and you see
and
everybody's
Ren said,
like,
hey, I thought this was a party.
Yeah.
Let's dance. And then it's like
everybody's like, "Yeah," and then starts getting into it a little bit, and then
Yeah.
they finally get there, and then there's glitter everywhere. Like the shots, I thought there was just like some noise going on. It's literally just tons
that's
of
just
glitter
glitter.
just pouring down.
And yeah, everybody starts dancing, and then you cut away, and Reverend Moore shows up, and the guy who owned the mill didn't think I'd see you out here, Pastor, and he's like, I'm just here to watch.
Just an observer.
Yep, and then his wife was also there, and they're just kind of like, we gotta let our girl grow up and make her own path, and Reverend Moore and his wife hold each other, and then they kind of sway like a little bit, and
you're
the
like-
wife is like, it's almost like we're dancing, and he's like,
And it doesn't really say much, but it's cute.
yeah.
They finally reconnect, and
beautiful.
you do the classic pull away shot, and the movie's done.
Well, no. Well, you cut back again to the prom.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah.
everybody's just dancing, and you get different people coming to the circle. And they are, for people who never danced ever, very good.
Know how
I
to
mean,
dance. There's some break dancing in there.
Yep.
There's some I think some Mr. Robot.
One guy did the like head thing that
Yeah.
I can't do.
Yeah, and then that's when the credits roll, and then
And
that's
it.
the end of the movie.
That's the movie. So
There's several of those.
that's
Yeah.
what are some takeaways?
Takeaway number 1: if you want to party, you got to party with glitter. That's how you know it's a
That's how you know it's a good party.
good party time.
That's a good point.
Now, too much is like sand. It kind of gets everywhere. So just there's a fine line to walk with that. So maybe not like gallons, but like some tasteful glitter.
Yeah,
you know?
some tasteful glitter.
Yeah. Just don't
that on
inhale
a
it.
shirt.
Yeah. Pardon us.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway, Steve?
Well, you know what? I think it is, it's good to know what you believe in, but don't use the Bible to pretend that things that aren't wrong are wrong or something. Like just let the Bible inform your beliefs instead of trying to use them to justify your own beliefs.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what they do in the whole thing. Is that they do wrong thing, but then back it up wrongfully, and it's like, just read it.
Yeah, and just realize that sometimes bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people, and that's you can't always understand why that happens, but it does.
Yep. And last but not least, make sure you learn how to dance.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're gonna go to a bar and a girl wants to dance, but you don't want to dance, and then you get into a fight because a guy who does know how to dance does dance with the girl, and you're like, I can't believe this is happening, and then you're just mad.
You mad, bro? You must be mad. What's the matter? You mad.
We don't speak from personal experience ever on this show, but that was a good reenactment. But thank you guys for joining us for another episode.
This
Video
might be
number.
our shortest episode yet, I
Well,
think.
yeah, it could be. There's still a lot to edit, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But hey, this is episode number 2 for the video side of things. So if you're on YouTube joining us, hello. If you're on Spotify joining us, hello. If you're on whatever random podcast episode or websites,
Podcast.net or something.
Yeah.
To have them weird. Then,
hello.
bonjour. I'm going to switch it up.
Yeah, I guess I would say hello in Saudi.
Ni hao.
Ni hao, yeah,
More.
maybe. Ohio. Anyway, if you want to give us some movie recommendations, because clearly we do a good job at recapping them, please send them to wackandtrash@gmail.com, and we will at least take a look. I cannot
sir.
guarantee that it will happen, but we will do our
It'll
darndest.
probably happen.
Probably
eventually.
at some time, at some point. We'd also like to start getting some guests on the show, so that could be you. Who knows?
I don't know if we should make that a general call.
Maybe not, but hey, it's out there now.
Oh.
Ben can leave it in or not. But that's where we will cap this. Steven, give us the best sound effect for your dance move.
Ow. That's when I fall in the middle of a dance.
And then you got to do the walk away, though.
That was me crying in the bathroom. If you couldn't pick up.
See you next time.